It was just about a week ago, John, where you and I were right here in this studio Friday night watching the 15-inning baseball game take place between the Tigers and the Mariners. Truly one of the more agonizing experiences I've ever had as a sports fan, watching that game, wanting to vomit basically the entire extra innings. And I don't know about anybody else, but last night was the first time that I've really gotten to dive into Mariners Blue Jays in the American League Championship Series, because the first two games were being played during Lions game or during Monday Night Football, whatever. And last night was really the only thing on. So I'm watching that game, and I just got to assume that most Tigers fans feel the same way as I do. It's tough to watch that series right now. I'm still thinking about what could have been for the Tigers. With the Red Wings season kicking off, and they're hot right now. They get a win last night. Pistons are about to start. The Lions are obviously in the full swing. I can't stop thinking about the team that isn't playing in the Detroit Tigers. And it's got me wondering, as Tigers fans, going into the offseason, are you feeling more optimistic this offseason about what's to come for Detroit next year? Or are you living in fear? Was this really their opportunity to do anything with Tarek Skubal now going into the final year of his contract? Essentially every offensive player improving from 2024 to 2025. Are they due for some regression there? And is the American League going to be better next season? Because it was wide open basically all this season. So I've got three reasons apiece why I think Tigers fans should be optimistic and should be fearful. Let's start positively, of course. I think that's a good way to do things here on a Thursday. The first thing is the man, the myth, the legend, Kevin McGonigal. The guy that Scott Harris beloves more than probably his own children, if he has any. I don't even know if he does. But Kevin McGonigal, to me, is such a reason to be excited about the Tigers next season. Scott Harris, in his post-game press conference, made it pretty clear that he's definitely going to be a part of this roster next season, whether that's right away or not. Didn't get to play with the Mud Hens at the AAA level, so you would assume maybe he gets some time there, but if he balls out in spring training, I mean, the guy's going to be on the roster next season right away. I'm going to get into it in a little bit, but there's been a pretty clear history of top hitting prospects just in the last several seasons that have joined playoff caliber teams and elevated them to another level, to be one of the best in the league. So Kevin McGonigal is the number one reason I think Tigers fans should be optimistic. Number two, the American League Central stinks. Going into 2025, there was a 4-team race, essentially, to win the American League Central. Basically all with the same odds. The Tigers were like plus 370. The Royals were right there with them. Twins and Guardians. They were all right within probably plus 200 odds of each other to win the division. Whereas next season, I can only imagine the Tigers are going to be heavy favorites to win the division, right? And I know that's not everyone's goal. I think the goal, obviously, next year is not to win the division, despite them not doing so the last 2 years, because they've done the same thing back-to-back seasons. But the American League Central being wide open still plays for the Tigers are going to potentially get a bye. They're going to get to play at home in the wild card series if they are playing in it. So the Central being as bad as it is, the Twins sold everybody. The White Sox are still going to stink. The Royals are an improving team. I think they'll probably be good next year. And Cleveland, I don't know, you just assume doesn't have their voodoo magic again next season? I don't know. The third thing that I think Tigers fans should be really excited about is think about all the individual offensive players that took such leaps from 2024 to 2025. Like, essentially every offensive player outside of Parker Meadows immensely improved at the plate last season. Dylan Dingler goes from a 505 OPS in 2024 to a 752 OPS, and he's a Gold Glover potentially behind the plate. One of the finalists, by the way. Spencer Torkelson, we all remember his 2024 season. 669 OPS with 10 homers. He jumps up to a 789 OPS with 31 homers. Colt Keith, a guy who maybe you would think he took a regression last year. No, he actually improved. He had a sub 700 OPS in 2024. He got that number up to 746. That's above league average. Zach McKinstry, that one goes without saying. I mean, the guy was a utility piece that you never wanted to play. You just did out of necessity in 2024, whereas in 2025, he played in 144 games with a 771 OPS. Riley Green, I guess you could say regressed, had a worse batting average, worse OPS in 2025, hit 36 home runs. I mean, like 111 RBIs, nearly 40 more RBIs than in 2024. I would say that's progression. And you don't even have to mention the Wenzel Perez, Javi Baez. Of course, those guys all got better. So I think that's another reason that you can look at this team and think, however you feel about Scott Harris, however you feel about A.J. Hinch, they're good at player development at all levels. And we make all the jokes about the minor league players with the Tigers, but at the end of the day, they're still good at that. And it's going to help the major league roster at some point. And there's been all this development at the major league roster. Those are the three reasons to be optimistic. John, I'll bring you in here. Any of those play for you as far as this could be a good reason to be excited about Detroit next season?
I mean, they're the only reasons, right? Like, there's not another reason I could lay out that you've laid out in terms of being optimistic, and that's the fact that...
Hey, John, I can't hear you.
Really?
Anyways, continue.
We have headset issues. I switched headsets. We shouldn't have switched headsets. I should have kept yours
keep going,
the way
keep
you
going.
like it.
You're coming through to everybody else. It's all that matters.
Oh, that's awesome. No, but yeah, I mean, those are the reasons to be optimistic, and I'm sure you're going to outline right now why maybe Tigers fans should live in fear or shouldn't be as optimistic. But the young guys, the core that you have that's under team control, that you don't have to re-sign for more money, guys that you have secured going into the 2025 season. But the biggest part of it is the prospects, the guys that you held on to at the trade deadline for reasons, and reasons you're about to get into. But the reason is because McGonigal, Clark, Briseño, Lorenzo, whoever you want to include, are hopefully your core, and they kind of have to be your core in terms of playing at a great level, because you're not going to go out and sign the big free agents. So from that perspective, yeah, you're optimistic because you do have the best farm system in baseball across the board. MLB.com, ESPN, Fangraphs, whatever.
Max Anderson is in there.
Yeah, whatever site you want to go through. But yeah, I mean, those are the only reasons I could find. Like, if you tasked me with finding more reasons to be optimistic, I'm kind of grasping at straws.
Right, and it's hard to be obviously super optimistic with the way that things ended. But I believe that there are good reasons for it. This team should be good again next season. Here's the issue, though. Most Tigers fans are probably feeling in a negative way right now with the way the season ended. Of course, can't blame you. And here's three reasons why they should fear this offseason. The first off is, of course, kind of what you talked about, and it's parlaying two things together. The first being Chris Ilitch's unwillingness to spend, of course. I mean, that's an obvious fear. But it's not just that in itself. It's that parlayed with Scott Harris's trust in the prospects and his love for these guys that we all want to believe in, but of course we can't just assume all of them are going to be superstars. So those two things together likely equals no moves are coming for the Tigers via free agency. No spending is going to happen. I mean, maybe a Gleyber Torres re-signing. I know all this entire offseason, Ben's probably going to do a whole spiel on Alex Bregman once again. I doubt that's happening. I would love for them to get a center fielder. Once again, they have Scott Harris is just attached to these prospects. That's been his number one thing since he's been with the Tigers, is this group of guys. The current MLB roster is not his core. He's in love with the core that's in the minor leagues. That, with Chris Ilitch's unwillingness to spend, should mean not much is going to happen spending-wise in the offseason for Detroit. That's a big fear to have. The second one, of course, is the Tarek Skubal situation, the contract situation. That's just going to be something that is talked about all offseason. Whether or not they should trade him, are they going to pay him? He's not getting extended this offseason. He's going to hit free agency a year from now. They should never trade him, obviously. I get the whole argument about, oh, well, if he's going to leave anyways, you might as well trade him. The Brewers did it with Corbin Burns, and they were still good. Sure, that's valid. But Tarek Skubal is going to be the back-to-back Cy Young winner. You're still a good team. You're contending for a World Series potentially. You don't trade away the guy that you're 20 games above 500 with when he starts as a Tiger, even when they were bad. So that's your second reason. Finally, your third reason, I kind of struggled to find a really concrete one, but I think this plays to the AL Central bit of everything. No AL Central team has gone to the playoffs 3 straight seasons in nearly a decade, which I found interesting. This has happened with your New York Yankees, John. They go to the playoffs every year, so that's not something you have to worry about. The Astros went to the playoffs 6 straight seasons. But the American League Central is such a poor division that the last time someone did it was the Guardians from 2016 to 2018. No team post-COVID has gone to the playoffs 3 straight seasons out of this division. The Tigers obviously have gone 2 years in a row. They've blown their opportunity in the division series Game 5 each of the last 2 seasons. And right now you're watching Blue Jays Mariners, and in spite, it's hard to watch that series right now and not think what could have been for Detroit.
Yeah, I mean, the last fear, I should say, in terms of the American League Central, I wouldn't put that as a fear unless you really fear the Guardians, because they're the only ones. The Twins at the deadline decided, hey, we're going to sell. They blew things up.
How can you not fear the Guardians, though?
That's a bad place to live in.
I mean, it's a team that
we've talked about this. Like,
maybe they got over the hump with beating them in the playoffs, but
you have to feel that way going into next year. Know that now you own them because you blew a historic lead, a large lead in terms of the division. Blew it. Came in with, as Ben likes to say, Uncle Mo momentum. No Uncle Mo. Uncle Mo was not there. He wasn't in attendance. And you went into their ballpark. You went into Cleveland. And you took a series from them. So you're the top dogs of the American League Central. You shouldn't fear the Twins because they blew things up. The White Sox are a laughing stock in baseball. And the Royals could be good, but we say that every year. This year they weren't good enough. I don't know who they're going to add to put them over the top. The main thing you should fear as a Tigers fan, in my opinion, and you laid this out in the first thing with Illich and spending. What you should be fearful of is that Major League CBA expires on December 1st of 2026. So regardless if your owner spends money or not, why in any right-minded individual who has money would you give long-term contracts and really just a year more than just a year, right? You can give year feelers out to certain guys, but why are you giving multiple year contracts when there might not be a season in 2027? And owners that want to win, and I do think Chris Illich wants to win, but to an extent. He's not going to move heaven and earth. So when you have a CBA that's going to expire and you may not have a season in 2027, and I'm already an owner that doesn't like to spend money anyway, I'm going to allocate all these funds for something that might not be needed because the salary cap might come in, lower the top dogs, and I can compete with spending the same amount of money I do right now. If the Tigers, Yankees, Mets, whoever you want to throw in, they're top of the payroll, they're slashed by $20, $30 million, now it's easier for me to compete. So why do I have to spend? That's the fear if you're a Tigers fan, because whether that CBA comes through or not determines how your ownership is going to spend its money. Because if there's a salary cap, why am I spending all this money?
Yeah, I mean, and that added in with an ownership group that clearly already has shown they don't want to spend, and added in with the fact that they have all these players coming in from the minor leagues that they trust, and obviously we, of course, hope are going to be good. Yeah, I think that's the number one reason why you should be a little bit fearful of them kind of being complacent this offseason. So let us know, 989-837-6125. Are you feeling good going into this offseason?